The Tilta Side Focus Handle gives you battery power with USB and DC output, control over your Nucleus Nano follow focus, and a holder for a Samsung external SSD. That's a big upgrade for $229, and it's compatible with just about every camera cage out there. But is it made to last, and is it the right tool for the job? Let me rewind a moment. Now, I've been waiting a long time for a handle that was also a secret power solution. First, it was for my Sony a7S II. Those batteries are cheap, but an hour is hardly sufficient. My Sony a7 III was a nice step up, but you have to think about accessories like the Tilta Nucleus Nano, which also need power. 2 years later, the first power bank handle started to appear, but I'll admit, I was put off by the clunkiness and the size of them. I was aware of MPF batteries that also had USB output, but of course you need a bracket to hold them, and size-wise, this started to feel like a lot for just powering a Nano. My Zcam E2 changed this, because now the MPF battery could also power the camera and the Nano simultaneously, and it's a decent solution for that camera. Unfortunately, the NPF output on these batteries turn off when the Nano stops drawing power for 60 seconds, which is awkward, and it underscored a bigger problem for me. With a heavier setup, you really don't want to have one hand dedicated to pulling focus. It's too easy to introduce camera shake. Once I had the Nano attached, I really wanted a larger monitor for focus pulling, and the combination turned out to be fairly beefy. So the Tilta handle system was exciting. This model of the handle offers control of the Nano and a DC output for powering my monitor as well. The improved placement of the focus wheel and the weight-bearing strap makes it possible to pull focus without putting a tremor into the system. Now, Tilta offers several versions of the handle, with models that accept both MPF and LP batteries at a couple of different sizes. They have versions with and without the Nano flywheel and 3 options for attaching it to your camera cage. And while this seems like a lot of choices, the absence of other options was the first thing that stood out for me. My handle is designed specifically with the Zcam in mind, but Zcams don't play well with Samsung SSDs, so I would have preferred a more generic SSD holder, or really none at all. Overall, the handle is well made. The sides, which include the SSD bracket, are metal, and the darker material a lightweight plastic. The strap is a nice leather deal. The bigger model is, well, big. Your fingers barely reach around to the other side of the grip. The outputs are on the bottom, which is an okay choice. I originally thought it would keep the cords out of the way, but they have to actually rise up in order to meet their destination, so I'm not sure that it helps much. It does mean, though, that you want to buy cords with the right angle plugs to keep them from sticking out so far, which brings me to another sticky point. The USB is 8 volts, which is awesome, especially for the Nucleus Nano, which performs better with higher voltages. The DC is 12 volts, which I think may be the max for MPF batteries. But 12-volt plugs are much less common than other voltages, which means you'll probably need an adapter to make it compatible with whatever it is that you're powering. The USB out is a micro USB, so you're going to need a micro to micro cable. One actually comes with your Nano if you haven't lost it already. Now, these cables aren't expensive, but it would have been nice if Tilta had included them with the handle. The flywheel on the handle is pretty awesome. With the strap to hold the weight of the camera, the location is really perfect for manipulating the wheel. And it has a little resistance to it, so it's smooth and easy to control with no bounce back when you reach your mark. The 970 version of the handle, mine, has an auto-calibrate button that works just like the original Nano controller. One press and it automatically finds the endpoint of your focus ring if you have a lens with a hard stop. Unlike the original controller, though, you can't manually calibrate your wheel or set endpoints by hand. And there's no A/B function either, at least not that I've found. There's no manual for any of these handles, and that's a glaring problem, especially since they don't all operate the same. One thing to note, the handle isn't wireless, but that's not really an issue because you need a wire to power the motor anyway. The 8-volt output is an improvement over the 2 volts of many small USB batteries. You can control larger, stiffer lenses with it. But I haven't noticed an improvement with my 5-volt battery, so there's really no step up from there. I love that I can power my Atomos Ninja 7 from the handle itself. The 970 battery will power the Atomos for 50 minutes, so you're going to burn through a few batteries, but that would have been the case even without the handle. I decided on the larger model just for this reason. While the 570 version is half the price and it's smaller, I knew that it would only power my monitor for about 20 minutes. And I also knew that the hand strap was going to be extremely helpful. On another note, the MPF batteries from different manufacturers can be slightly different sizes. The slightly larger ones are a bit of a pain to get in and out of the handle. While this is generally true of every piece of equipment that the batteries are connected to, the lack of places to grip the battery on the handle make it especially difficult with the Tilta. Now, this isn't Tilta's fault really, but you do need to be careful that you don't damage the electrical connections. Perhaps my biggest gripe, and it's not a huge deal, is the gap between the handle and the camera. This space here, while it's great for beefier fingers, is really bigger than it needs to be. Without an SSD in place, it feels ridiculously big. Now, most of the time, you want to keep your rig as compact as possible, so I wish this space was a little bit smaller. I bought a flat rosette attachment to help minimize this awkwardness. Unlike the Nucleus Nano and the Mini Mac box, the Tilta handle doesn't come in a neat kit with all of the attachments. That makes it feel like a bit of a offhand effort. You still need to supply cables with right angle plugs and possibly a rosette attachment for your rig, and these little things add up to another 40 or 50 bucks. So, do I recommend it? Well, if you have a Tilta Nucleus system, I'd say yes. The flywheel on this handle is awesome. I think that Tilta should make the smaller NPF 570 version with the hand strap because having that, it makes a big difference in terms of ease and convenience. I also wish that they offered the 970 model without the SSD holder. It would have made the whole unit just a little bit smaller. If you just want the power capabilities, I might wait a few months and see what other products enter the market. The USB and DC options are great, but the little inconveniences of the handle make it an imperfect solution. The 570 version isn't really powerful enough, and the 970 comes with this extra bulk and an unnecessary SSD holder. Unless, of course, you want the holder. And let's face it, if all the handle does is provide outputs for a battery that you provide, 120 bucks is way overpriced. The Tilta handle only makes financial sense if you need the Nucleus control too. If this video has been helpful, please hit the subscribe button, and I hope that everyone is staying safe out there in these trying times. Be well.